This is the first lecture for the Communication Systems course, and we are going to start with Section 1, Introduction to Communication Systems. There are 5 different sections that we're going to go through in the book, and each section is divided into a variety of chapters. In this case, Section 1 has 3 different chapters, and so we'll have 3 different lectures for this first section. So starting in Chapter 1, we're going to start with what is communication. And as a communication systems course, obviously a key component of this course is to understand what is communication. What are we talking about when we say communication? So communication is the sending and receiving of information or messages. It's all about information transfer. But a key component here is that in order for communication to occur, it must be both sent and received. So it's not enough just to send a piece of information. That doesn't necessarily mean that communication has occurred. It's critical that it is actually received as well. So for example, I can be communicating to you in a different language, let's say Chinese. But if you don't understand Chinese, I can be sending information, but you would not be receiving it. And therefore, communication would not occur. If I ask you a question in Chinese, you're not going to be able to know what the answer is. And so there is no communication occurring. The same is true, let's say, over a network. If I send an email to someone, but for whatever reason it doesn't get received on the other end, then communication has not happened. So it's important when we look at developing communication systems and managing communication, we need to ensure that things are sent properly and at the other end are also received properly as well. So we have 5 different major purposes of communication. So to start with, we have to inform. We communicate in order to inform. Some different examples of that could be such as newspapers, news, or magazines, just to inform the public, inform people on what is going on. A second area of communication is to educate. Just like we're doing in this class, the purpose of this class is to educate you on communication systems. So we can use textbooks, we can use lectures, we can use PowerPoint presentations, a lot of different ways that we can use to try to communicate to others, to educate them. We also use communication to persuade. So some different examples could be through the advertising field, such as billboards, commercials, and those types of things are set up to persuade people. Campaigns or speeches are established to persuade people. And so we have a lot of communication that happens over the persuasion arena. We also have communication that is established to entertain. So our TV, movies, the music industry, the gaming industry, all of those are communicating in one form or another, and they're providing some type of entertainment. And then lastly, we have communication through control. For example, this may be an alarm clock. An alarm clock is going to communicate to you when it's time to get up, and there's going to be controls and switches, electronic switches on the inside of that alarm clock to tell you when it's time to get up, and it's going to try to control what you do. Alright, so when looking at the information transfer, again, communication is all about information transfer. We have a variety of systems or ways that we can communicate. So first off, we have human-to-human communication. This is basic verbal communication. You're talking with somebody. So from human to human, we're communicating back and forth. Then we can also have communication from a human to a machine. So for example, when you are putting information into a computer, you are communicating, you the human are communicating to a machine. Or even if you are communicating into a phone, even though you're talking to somebody else at the other end, you are still communicating to a machine, to a piece of technology that is converting your voice into an electronic signal that can be sent over the network. At the other end, there's machine-to-human communication going on where the phone is communicating to the human. So the variety of areas out there where machines are communicating to us, whether the computer is communicating back to us, a smoke detector could be a machine-to-human communication where it's letting us know that it's detecting smoke. And then we also have machine-to-machine communication, which is referred to as cybernetics. In our technology society now, we have all kinds of machine-to-machine communication over the networks, from computer to computer. So let's say, for example, and in many cases, they're intertwined. So let's say, for example, you're working on a computer and you need to print a document. So you would start with human-to-machine communication, where you are inputting information into a computer. And then when you're ready to print, it would be a machine-to-machine communication where the computer is talking with the printer. And then at the end, you could have machine-to-human communication where the printer is printing a document that is then being communicated back to you. So we have a variety of ways and methods that we use to communicate that combine both human and machines. So this ends the first lecture for Chapter 1, and the focus again is on about what is communication. It's the sending and receiving of information.